Sweet as, we're rolling now. So, dude, thanks for coming
Cool.
on and making time for us. It's good to like have you on Zoom here and be chatting to you because been getting jealous following your Instagram. And what are you doing, like 12,000 Ks or something, is it? Or
Yeah, just over 12,000, close to 12 and a half. From Melbourne up the East Coast, then across west to Darwin, down the Stewart Highway to Adelaide, and then back by the Great Ocean Road.
wow, that's a hectic trip. So, man, and what's the go? You're in lockdown at the moment, eh? How?
No, so we're in Bundaberg, which is not in a lockdown area of Queensland. We did go into Brisbane the day before their lockdown started. My buddy that I'm traveling with was midway through getting a massage, and I was chatting to a mechanic about an exhaust. When we got the news we had to be out of Brisbane by 6 p.m. So we hightailed it back to our accommodation, lost the night of accommodation payment, and got out of the southeast Queensland region.
That's a good plan, eh? It's like,
Yeah.
that's the challenges of travel these days. But so what's the go? You got the bike, you got the Jeep. What's the setup you guys are running?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I'm on the bike. I've got some saddlebags with some tools, and I usually just carry sort of water and snacks in there. And then my buddy Kyron is in his Jeep Wrangler. So that's full of, we got two swags that have been the kind of the bane of our existence. We've got some really thick foam mattresses that we didn't anticipate how much room they'd take up. And then we've just got, camp cooking stuff, a few more tools, and then just our own clothes, table, chairs, that sort of stuff.
That's awesome. So are you doing the full 12,000 Ks on the bike, or is that on a trailer, or how's it work?
Yeah, full 12,000 on the bike. There was talk of potentially doing the Savannah Way, which is right up the top, really far north, goes right across, like through the top end. But looking at kind of the road conditions, I don't know if my little cafe race is going to make it through there. So we're gonna hang south. So it means more Ks, but I think a little bit safer on the bitumen.
Man, that is a hectic ride. Like, so I think, we've had one customer do the Nullarbor a few times, but I think you're the first to throw that many Ks on the clock in like one round trip like that. So I've been hanging on every photo that you guys post and like loving all the progress you guys are making. But damn, you must be sore, like sitting on the bike for that many Ks. How many Ks you doing a day?
So we're keeping it pretty short because I'm working along the way as well. So I'm trying to get in some hours.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest day we've done is 478 Ks. But it's funny, it's funny how it hits you. Like the 478K day, absolutely fine. Today we did 128 and we're just pulling into Bundaberg, and I looked down to check something and then went, oh geez, my back, wow. So it's a bit hit and miss, but yeah, I think I'm going okay. I reckon I'm more likely to break than the bike on this trip.
That's awesome. So what have you done to the bike? How have you prepared for it?
Yeah, man. So I took it into see Paulie down in Frankston, and he tuned it up for me. So he put the gearing kit on it, so we can obviously sit more comfortable at higher speeds. Raised the forks a little, got some fresh tires on there. I'd just come home from overseas. My cousin had the bike for the 2 years I was gone, so he just had it freshly serviced to give back to me. So that's as far as the kind of the tune-up went. And then I picked up a defect notice in New South Wales for the exhaust.
No way for the exhaust.
Yeah. So I took it to a few mechanics to get that sorted, all of which said, you must be the most unlucky guy or you did something to piss the cop off. So it's a fresh exhaust on there as well. And yeah, just threw the saddlebags on as well. So I've got a little bit of storage, but other than that, it's pretty much how it was when I bought it back in 2017.
Man, that's awesome. I love hearing that. I reckon, yeah, you guys, just the spirit of adventure represent so many people that buy our bike and just want to get out. I mean, most people like me and use their bike to get to work or a bit of fun on the weekend, but 12,000 K journey is definitely on the bucket list. So
yeah, man,
cheering you on.
Yeah, well, I mean, for sure. That's why I bought mine. Like, I bought it for literally a 4-kilometer commute to work, and then jumped on and went, oh, I think I like motorbikes. And so, yeah, I think I've always wanted to do something just like, I don't have a massive adventure bike. I want to do this trip. I'm going to go with what I got. Let's just hit the road and start going.
That's so good. So is this your first bike? Have you had other bikes, or like, what's your motorcycling sort of journey and story, bro?
Yeah, man. So basically, this was my first bike. I basically decided I wanted to get one for this commute into work. I was shopping around online and came across Brath as a brand and went, geez, that's pretty cost effective for a bike. And I was looking secondhand. I'm like, that's only a few years old. I wonder how much they go for brand new. I obviously came to the website, and then one Saturday morning just turned to my housemate and went, man, I think I'm going to buy a motorbike today. We drove down to the store. You were in there, and we had a chat, and we almost like took the roof off the back of his ute. And I didn't have my license yet. Threw it in the back of his ute to take home. I was that excited, but sadly, you didn't have one ready to go for me. So I went and did my license and was going to get it delivered on Wednesday, but I finished my license on Tuesday and went, no, I'm too excited. Made my way down, picked it up myself, and then had it for I think probably like 16 months, and then I moved overseas. And so I gave it to my cousin. I knew I didn't want to get rid of it. And I knew if I just let it sit at my parents' house, my dad would try and tinker with it or try and ride it, and either crash it or, damage it in trying to tinker with it. And overseas, I rode like a bunch of different dirt bikes. I did a lot of riding through Vietnam on like CRS, which was really fun. Over in Europe then, I moved to London for 2 years. Rode a Bonneville through Portugal, which was awesome. But I think probably the biggest one is I did this trip with Nathan Millward, who rode a postie bike from Sydney to London once.
Man, that makes your 12,000 Ks look like the daily commute.
Yeah, I know, right? So with him, I went out from sort of North Devon, which is the southwest of England, right down to Land's End, which is the very westerly tip of the UK, on a Royal Enfield Interceptor. And then basically that was right before I came home, flew into Darwin, did my quarantine in Darwin, got picked up from the airport, literally hadn't seen my parents, got dropped off at my cousin's house and picked this up and took it home again.
So you went and got your bike before you saw your parents?
Yeah, absolutely.
Priorities, mate. Most people have, when they buy a bike, they've got some significant other that's concerned about their motorcycling. So had to get the bike first and go show mum and dad.
Yeah, well, I think, Mum, like it was just from where my parents live, and we were coming past my cousin's place on the way home from the airport, so it made sense. And I was just eager to get it back, and thank God I did, because 9 days after I got back, Melbourne went into lockdown. I wouldn't have been able to go get it for months.
Oh, dude, you'd be spewing. So yeah. Who's on the journey with you? You're on the bike, and then who's in the car?
Yeah, so my best mate, Kyron, I met him, I lived above a pub for 18 months when I was like 21 in Richmond, and he lived above the pub as well. He was a bartender at the pub. He's driving around in the Jeep. He's got annual leave for this whole time. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome. What a setup. And has he jumped on the bike at all, or?
Nah, not at all. He's pretty comfortable, in the warm, inside, listening to podcasts, got the heater on when he wants, can, have a snack while he's driving, while I'm just shivering, freezing cold behind him.
You're definitely not selling it. It's all part of the adventure though, isn't it? Like get there with some type of sense of accomplishment that you rode, not.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we did the Putty Road, which is one of the, sort of best motorcycle roads in Australia. And that was the day where I was having way more fun than him, because he's just in a big Jeep that takes up the entire lane going around these big windy corners, and I'm carving it up. And and it was a beautiful sunny day. So that was definitely a day for me, not him.
That's awesome. Yeah, you'll have to send me some photos. You got photos of that?
Yeah, man, I got photos of that. I've got full helmet cam and handlebar cam of that as well.
To get Ethan to edit some of that up. Have you edited any of it up, or?
I've basically trimmed little bits of it just to be like, oh, cool, I'll use this bit. This bit's good. I had the idea of kind of editing and trimming stuff while we're on the road, but I don't know. It's a little bit easy to get into camp and just go, oh, beer would be good.
Dude, send it down. I'll get Ethan to edit it. You're promoting it, so
yeah, cool.
That'd be awesome. But and so tell us about your bike. Like, what sort of maintenance have you had to do? What sort of warranty stuff have you had? Like, how's the bike been? Yeah,
really good, man. It's a ST250 2016. I picked it up in 2017. It had done 10,000 Ks before the trip started, and so we ticked over to 13,000 now. Obviously, the whole trip's going to be 12. Yeah, I mean, like it's been obviously putting it through its paces. The only things that have kind of, been a bit of a hassle to get fixed up are we took it off some really hectic off-road. We're talking road works, like it's just ingraded, big tire sort of divots from the tractors and stuff. Everything's rattling around. So the front bracket down here kind of snapped and broke a little bit, which I think is to be as expected. So riding into Brisbane, that had almost come completely loose. So we had to pull over, get that taken off. Otherwise, it was going to come off while I was riding. So I got that welded back on. Then the only other thing is yesterday we had a bit of a hiccup, just cruising along 110 Ks an hour. Well, it's been running at 110 Ks an hour so perfectly fine, which is nice. But then just lost power. I was like, Jesus, it felt like I'd run out of fuel, but I knew I had a full tank. Yeah. So thankfully we ended up breaking down out the front of a mechanic's house.
No way.
Yeah. So this woman, so the main jet in the carby had unscrewed itself.
Oh, wow. Man, that is like, to find that as well, like that's a random one.
Well, we pulled up and I knew it was something fuel related. Like I could just tell the way it was kind of starting. I could rev it a little, but without any throttle on, it just switched off. Yeah. And then I was like, it's got to be something in the carby, like drain the bowl, check the fuel was all good, change the spark plug. And then this guy who was the mechanic rocked up and he was like, it's got to be the carby. So he took it apart for me and he's like, here's your problem. Pulled out the main jet, screwed it back in, and we were good to go.
That's awesome. So what's your setup? Are you mechanical yourself? Like, do you know stuff, or you're new to this and just kind of like bumbling through?
Yeah, pretty new to it, pretty bumbling through things. So like, I don't know, I put my saddlebags on myself. That's my biggest, claim to mechanical know-how. I did, a few years ago, I did try and put some clip-on handlebars on myself and massively failed. So look, would I be able to change my own oil? Probably with some YouTube videos. But, I think for this trip particularly, I'd rather pay a professional, mechanic along the road to be working on the bike just to make sure it's in tip-top condition for anything we do. That being said, I am a little bit nervous about something like if the main jet was to unscrew itself while we're in the middle of nowhere in the Stuart, on the Stuart Highway, would I be able to diagnose that and fix it myself?
And that's part of the fun of it, the bush mechanics that you have to do on a massive adventure like that. It's like,
yeah.
I remember we rode around Fraser Island on Suzuki DRZ 400s, and man, the bush mechanics that we had to come up with when you throw a branch through a radiator or lose a joining link, or like the cable ties and wire on your backpack become your best friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially on the hard
for sure.
Sounds like you're doing, like, you're not just like, you guys are far from like your average highway riding. You're really pounding it, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of something we almost decided to do, is that, obviously riding on a freeway is fairly boring. So if we're not pushed for time, I've usually got Kyron in the Jeep with the GPS in front, and he'll see, do you want to take this detour by the side roads? That's an extra 18 minutes. He'll go, yep, accept, and then we'll pull off. We'll be winding through, back roads, which is just, great fun. Rather than just sit there at 110, little 250cc trying to overtake semi-trailers. It's way more fun on the back roads.
Have you done that? Like, if you had to pin it and get around a semi-truck on the highway?
I have, and I've had a couple where I've been sitting in their slipstream for ages going, I think I can do this, pull out and go, oh, I cannot do this, and have to pull back in. But I've got a couple of grey nomads in their caravan, so it's always a good feeling when you can nail an overtake. That's
awesome. Definitely not recommended to learners who are watching this and want to go hit the road. Like, pinning it behind a truck to slipstream them, it's not the safest measure, but sounds like hell of a time.
Yeah. I mean, I've been riding for 4 years now, and I've ridden through like Southeast Asian cities, so I wouldn't have been doing this sort of stuff when I was on my elf.
It's true. Like Aussie drivers it's a bit less hectic on the road than Southeast Asia.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good, man. And what else? So you get back. How long is it going to take you to get back?
So we're thinking 7 weeks was the initial plan, but then again, the initial plan was to go to Adelaide first. So everything's kind of been thrown out the window. The original plan 7 weeks, just over 51 days, which I think we're hesitant to kind of stick to, because that is assuming absolutely nothing goes wrong and we're not delayed at any stage. So we're already running a little bit behind after the whole having to get out of Brisbane and head inland for ages. Now we've made it back to the coast, but we are about a day behind.
Yeah, not too bad for two lads on the road to be only 1 day behind. I reckon you're about a week ahead of schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're going to try and Sunday and Monday, when the weather's better, we're going to try and do a couple of really big days. Because we are, again, it's tentative, but we are trying to catch up with my missus. She might fly up to Darwin and see us. So we do have a bit of a pin in like a date we need to get to Darwin.
That's good, man. I love it. And so for any like budding adventure riders, someone who's like sort of just thinking about doing their first adventure, what's kind of and say they've bought a Brap, they've probably got a 250. What's sort of your suggestion? Do you have any hot tips for them?
Yeah, man, the biggest one I think is like, and I think I'm learning this on this trip, is like, you just got to go. Like there was so much planning around, we had spreadsheets, we had stuff we needed to buy. It all went out the window with Victoria going into lockdown, and it came to Friday the 18th. The weather was terrible, but it was the first day of restrictions at ease. And we just kind of went, all right, we're going to do this. We're doing this. And then it was just, you got to get those first few Ks out of the way, and then you're in the trip. And then from there on, it just builds on itself. I'd also say that don't think you need to be Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman on big BMWs, or Nathan Millward on a postie bike. Like, just deal with what you got. Strap some saddlebags on and just get out the door.
Matt, I love it. Well, you've inspired me. I want to chuck an adventure on the calendar, maybe a bit smaller than 12,000 Ks, but it's definitely on the bucket list. So
yeah, awesome, man.
I'd love to check in some more, bro, and see how you guys are going in a few weeks. And just awesome, like what you guys are doing. I know there's heaps of people following on the internet trying to, live our freedom life and our adventure life through you guys. So
cheers.
Keep posting, and we get heaps of comments when we post a photo up of what you guys are doing. People love it. So
yeah, awesome. We'll do. We absolutely jump on a Zoom again soon. I'll do some little helmet cam stuff and say to g'day to everyone. Yeah.
That's good, man. And thanks for repping Brap as well. It means a lot to us. Like, as you know, like you've been down here and met us and stuff like that. Like, we're a small family. Yeah. So to have you guys out repping us and flying the flag and doing what you're doing means a lot to us. And we're cheering you on big time. So thank you.
Cheers, man. Dude, trust me, everyone I meet, they're always like, what kind of bike is that? And I've almost got your elevator pitched down. I'm like, oh, man, it's so cool. They're an Australian company, like affordable bikes. I bought it as a commuter, but it's been really good. So I'm a big fan, man.
I love it. That means a lot. So that's good, mate. Well, it's onwards and onwards. But seriously, I'd love to. I've got two screens here, so I'm looking at you. But I'd love to send through any footage you want. If you want to do it, like anything cool happens, I'll get Ethan to edit it up and follow you guys along if you want. And happy to promote like any channels you want to promote or anything like that. So yeah,
cool, man. Awesome. We've got a bit of time because it's going to be 40 mil of rain tomorrow. So we're bunkering down in Bundaberg. So I'll cut some stuff up, edit it up and send it through, and you guys can just cherry pick what you got. We've got some really cool drone footage as well. So we've got camera gear coming out our arse at the moment. But it's going to be worthwhile in the end.
That's awesome. Yeah, send it down. That's good, mate. Well, if you need anything, let us know. And I think you got mum and dad's number anyway, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I got yours. I got the whole family. Yep.
Yeah, let us know and go hard. Love the stories.
Cheers, man.
All right, brother. I'll give you a hit up in a few weeks.
Sounds good, brother. I'll speak to you then. Catch you, man. Bye.